Are there velociraptor ghosts? How much can they bench? Those questions may not get answered today, but we do get into it as well as, Freddie Mercury's teeth on today's episode of the Wax Poetic Podcast. Welcome. My guest today is Lauren, and say hello, Lauren.
Hey,
Yeah. And how do I know you, Lauren?
how do we know each other? How does anyone know anyone, Levi? Well, we met in level 2 improv in the beautiful shopping center at Airport and Lamar.
Great shopping center. They got everything there.
They really do. They have all your needs for food and improv. Yeah.
I will say that when I first met you in that class, I felt you as my rival, like the one that I had to one up.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes, really.
I feel like you know, when I first met you, it was kind of like, who's this guy who has like a hilariously inappropriate sense of humor? And how can we make him make more jokes? Because I feel like you just have such like an interesting way of seeing the world. It's always fun to watch you in a scene.
Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you. But like I said, I felt like you were my rival there. I was the one that I had to really work the hardest to try to outdo.
Well,
So
I appreciate that, Levi. I feel like, level 2 is especially, the launching pad for how we do improv. And who knew that from level 2 we would end up like going through all the rest of the levels together to graduate and become certified improvisers.
oh, I did not graduate. I did not. I never finished the last improv class.
Oh my gosh. Because of COVID's.
I flunked out of I flunked out of level 5 because I was late too many times. And the last time that I was late, it was because Josh had a birthday. And I was like, so I went over to have a birthday celebration with Josh and then just missed the class. And I was like, But then they emailed me and like, hey, you've missed too many times. And I was like, all right. So I think it's just a better story for me to say that I flunked improv. So.
Honestly, my jaw is on the floor right now. And it's just like, I think it's just funny because who really needs the certificate? Like you were in Kiss and Break Up with us, like doing the shows, about to be a main stage. So yeah, you're like a beauty school dropout that ended up becoming like a famous hairstylist,
All right, Lauren, what album are we talking about today? What do you got?
Well, I, even before you even asked me, like was thinking about if I was on Levi's podcast, like I know exactly what album we would be talking about today, and it's Lungs by Florence and the Machine, one of my favorite albums since high school, when I first fell in love with Florence and her voice and like alternative rock music in general. So I'm excited to talk about it with you.
Well, I had already owned this one. It's a great album. So whenever you told me this one, I was like, yeah, we'll do that. Great. Love it. Love it already.
I had scrolled through the other podcasts that like you had done, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to do it. Someone's definitely already picked it already. And I had some backups, but this was definitely like the number one thing I wanted to revel on. I was thinking about like boys like girls, Green Day, Fall Out Boy. Like there were just so many interesting albums from like the high school years that you just don't, those songs just didn't make it into the top 40s. So I feel like they don't come up as much. Like I wish we could just go to a wedding and that kind of music would play.
Oh, right. Yeah, that'd be great. All right. So you heard this one in your high school, right? I guess.
Yeah, it came out in 2010. I think I wasn't, I'm always late to the drop. It's like a thing when I fall in love with music. Like I always find it a year or years later and like want to go see a concert and just they're not playing that music anymore. It happened to me with the Black Keys too. And by the time like it came around, they'd completely changed their sound. But yeah, I think it was like junior year of high school is when maybe I heard Dog Days for the first time because that was like her big top 40s song that came up. And I was just like, what is this voice? Like, this is, she just has one of those like remarkable voices. The cadence of the song like takes you on a journey. And I like had to know more from there. So I downloaded the album on iTunes. So I permanently have that album now with Apple. I don't hate it. And
Money well spent, right?
definitely money well spent. I will tell you, the interesting thing is, I was like, I was in Houston this weekend, and I, on my drive home, was like, I'll listen to Lungs to do my homework, you know, reminisce. And there's a lot of songs on the deluxe album that I had just never heard before, which was like a treat to know there was just more music than I even knew about.
Yeah, I don't have the deluxe. I got the original when it like
Same.
almost shortly after it came out, I believe. But yeah, have you ever seen Florence and the Machine live?
I haven't. I have the t-shirt I'm actually wearing right now is the Lungs t-shirt. I had a friend who went to the concert and I was like, you have to buy it for me. But like by the time I had gotten into Florence and the Machine, she wasn't really touring. So I haven't had the opportunity, but her and weirdly Panic at the Disco are like the two concerts I would love to see in my lifetime.
Do you know what the last band or artist you saw live was before lockdown?
Ooh, I think it was Sublime,
Oh,
surprisingly. And it's funny because it's not like the original singer anymore. They were playing at Stubbs and it was unreal. It was like such a fun show, such a fun crowd. I also just like, I feel like concerts are my favorite place in the whole world, especially Stubbs, where like you're in the outdoors enjoying dancing, like everyone around you is enjoying themselves. So I had like 4 concerts I was supposed to see in 2020 that never happened.
all right. So, what's your favorite song on this album? Which is the one that hits you?
Um, it's so hard to pick a favorite song. Every song is just so different. If I had to pick one favorite song, I think Drumming Song is the one song I've probably played the most and sang the most. It's just like it has such a build up to it. I can't tell if it's about her being so utterly in love with someone or just like so much in a toxic relationship with someone, but it's like feelings beyond like your mind can control. Like her body is her heart is beating and racing, and it really like conveys in the song, which I love.
Yeah, that one is kind of, it could go either way. The way I got from it was that it's just the emotions are just so strong for this person that it's just, your heart's just drumming. This whole album actually kind of gets you pumped, and I think it is because of the drums. Every song has this like really intense like
Yes.
drumming to it.
Yes, I used to run to this album because it's like the perfect downbeat. Like your foot hits the ground like every beat, and it just like, I don't know, it feels like your body's just like meant to do something to it because of what you're saying. It's like the drumming is just so incredible in the album. I would say Kiss with a Fist is like, I remember hearing that song and just being, I love songs when they're just lyrically clever. Like
Hmm.
they paint a very like obscure picture. And while it I guess is a very violent song in a sense, like it doesn't feel like a violent song. It feels almost like a comical song.
Yeah.
Because she's like, a kiss with a fist is better than none. And it's like you don't really think of kissing when a fist makes contact with a body, you know?
Yeah, I think that's another one that's also kind of like drumming. It's just like the emotions are so strong that, man, it just feels like somebody hit you. Just
Yeah. Do you have a favorite song from the album?
I think it's probably Rabbit Hearted Girl or Rabbit Heart, probably.
Is that the one that's like a looking glass all
Mhm.
shiny and new? Mm-hmm.
That one feels so
Why?
old school, almost like a Tori Amos song. It's got a weird feel to it. I don't know. it starts off kind of like slow and mellow, and then it gets kind of big, and there's like the whole, not a quite a chorus, but just, raise me up,
Yeah, it almost changes like the song over, like you could take samples of it from like the beginning, middle, and end, and you might not even know they like came from the same song, which is kind of fun. Um, I think that was probably one of the top songs from that album.
yeah.
It's just they're all like home runs, and they're so like I when I was listening to it, I'm like someone who loves like understanding the like meaning behind songs when I'm listening to them.
Yeah.
And when I was driving home from Houston listening to this album, had this thought like, oh, I've never really tried to figure out what is she saying in this album? Is it a love album? Is it a hate album? And it's crazy. Like every single song is about a different emotion. Like some are about love, some are about anger, some are about hope, some are about like my brother's coffins. He makes them all day, like death, you know.
Yeah.
It's just it's every like this album, and this is really why I think I loved it so much in high school, and not just in high school, but why it's kept with me in my life is there's a song for everything in it. And they all feel appropriate no matter what you're going through. So even if it is a song about dreaming while you're sad, it almost feels hopeful. Or if you're happy and you hear a song about sadness, like this upbeat kind of makes you feel like you can't have good without bad. I don't know. It's just like the album doesn't feel like it's ever for one mood, and it's not, which is really cool.
Well, the song "I'm Not Calling You a Liar," I got two questions on this one, because she's talking about a ghost, which is kind of a metaphor for, somebody that's not there, or somebody you used to go out with. You're still reminded of them somehow or something. Have you ever had that moment where somebody does something that reminded you of someone else, and you're like, "Oh, I hate it." Oh, you know, you know what I mean? It's something that somebody did that used to annoy you, and then somebody new in your life does it, and you're
Oh,
just like,
that's interesting. It's almost like that's so interesting. That's a different interpretation of like of what I've gotten from that song. Have I had someone in my life who kind of like mimics someone else who I am happy to have out of my life?
yes.
Man, I don't know. Like I guess not. I maybe I just purposely avoid fighting bad people from my past.
That might be the best way to go. Yeah.
Yeah. That's an interesting interpretation, Levi. For me, it was like that song, when I think of it, I it reminds me of like a really bad breakup in high school. Cause she's saying like I'm not calling you a liar, don't lie to me. Like the relationship wasn't really that great of a relationship. Like he had cheated and had lied to me about it. And like not calling you a thief, but don't steal from me is kind of just like every bad relationship you're ever in, that baggage that someone puts on you, and like the innocence people steal. And then the ghost part to me was like this person is like stuck on your brain almost. And
Yeah.
that's what's haunting you. Yeah, that song was super powerful for me in healing. As it was just, I mean, with all music, it's like someone else has gone through this. Like these aren't original emotions. The world will move on. Have you had someone that reminds you of someone from your past?
Yeah, it's just something, somebody says something, they call you like a name, maybe like a pet name or something, and you're just like have to double take, like, wait, who's here? And it's, they don't know what they're saying. They don't know that it reminds you of somebody else, but
The
they did.
sentimental meaning of it.
Yeah, just like, oh, so and so used to do that. Hmm. Also, have you ever seen a ghost?
Ooh, have I seen a ghost? I don't think I've seen a ghost, but I feel like I have experienced like the presence of a ghost, you know?
Ah,
Like not not like a corner of my eye kind of thing, but that feeling of like something might be here. I feel like that I'm one of those people that every time they go into like the basement of a house, they like turn the lights off and then sprint out of the basement because I'm like afraid. I can't be the only person that does this, right? It's like I'm afraid of like what might be in the basement waiting.
Yeah, no, I think we've all done that. I will say I know somebody that I don't know if she listens to this podcast, but she told me that she knows velociraptors don't exist,
Oh
but
no.
whenever she locks her car at night, she, in the dark to get inside, she's always worried that a velociraptor will pop out and get her.
I mean, that they don't exist currently, but their ghosts could definitely still be around, right?
Raptor ghost, yeah, quite possibly.
I mean, the only thing she's going for her there is that I don't think ghosts have the ability to like pick up objects, right? Like humans.
I don't think. I think it depends on what movie you're watching. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they're, you know.
Yeah, what's the ghost logic here, Levi? If I was like making a movie about velociraptor ghosts.
Well, I don't think that they could pick anything up, even with their normal non-ghost hands, because they're like, they got those little chicken wings that really
Right,
are
right. Like,
useless.
can they even lift that much weight in the
Can you
air?
even lift, bro?
Can you lift, bro? They're like, you should just have them like pumping iron in the first scene. And then so when it gets to the scene where it picks her up from the car, it makes sense to the audience why it has that much strength to do it.
Yeah, that's a very strong raptor.
The wrath of the Raptors.
Well, is there a song on this album that does remind you of maybe not a person, but just a place or even high school that just brings you back?
Ooh, let's see.
Because high school is a pretty formative years of your life right there. You kind of make
Right.
friends. Maybe you don't keep in touch with them for the rest of your life, but it's a time where you kind of become, for the most part, you kind of become who you are.
I think Between Two Lungs
Yeah.
is a song that kind of takes me back. I feel like that song is like a very centering song for me because it's like based in breath, and I don't know, like the meaning of the song to me is kind of about like what's happening between your lungs and like releasing out anxiety. And I don't know about you, Levi, but high school was like extremely anxiety inducing time of my life. Probably the most anxiety inducing time in my life, like trying to figure out who I am and like what I mean to the world and like what the world means back and what I want to be and people I want to surround myself with. And I feel like just so many questions, and you're like stuck in a place that you don't even choose to be in, like
Yeah,
high
you're there
school.
because your family lived there.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that's not even, it's a, and so on top, I feel like on top of all of the like hormones going on, you're just like stuck in a place where you feel like maybe you just don't even belong there. And I feel like that's where Between Two Lungs has been like a very impactful song in my life because it reminded me and like taught me of how to step back from what feels like an uncontrollable situation of my life and just calm down and think about my impact.
Well, Kiss with a Fist is the one album or the one song on here that kind of doesn't fit with the rest of the songs.
Yeah, because it's, well, okay, I would think that at first. I don't know if you're talking about like the lyrics or just like
The overall sound.
the overall sound of the song. Is that what you're referring to?
It's got a very, because it's got a very prominent guitar. It's got a very punk rock kind of rhythm to it, and
Yeah, it's definitely more upbeat.
there's a ukulele playing, so it's got a weird feel to it that's just not on the rest of the album.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like as you're saying these songs, I'm almost hearing little like bites in my head of each song and like and trying to compare them Because I feel like lyrically, Kiss with a Fist, you think to yourself like, oh, this is kind of like a dark song, and then you hear My Brother's Coffin, and you're like, oh, or my boy builds coffins. Oh, I thought it was My Brother's Coffin, and then you're like, okay, this is getting dark, and then there's Girl with One Eye, which I honestly, I think that's the one song I don't understand on the whole album. Like, I know the lyrics to it, but I don't know if there is a deeper meaning to it or if she's just having fun.
Well, that one is a cover song.
Oh, it is?
That one's a cover song from another band that I don't think she was in this other band. I think it was another band that other musicians she played with were in.
Really?
I know she did not write that one. That is not her song. There's another one is a cover song as well. I think You've Got the Love is also a cover song.
No. Really? You've Got the Love?
You've Got the Love. Let me double check on that here.
That's crazy. I feel like I wonder why she chose to cover songs in this album. Because I feel like this was her big debut.
Well, I think like I said, I think it was just other musicians that she was playing with, maybe on this album, or just kind of coming up with, or just being associated with, and just kind of been like, hey, I'm gonna record one of your songs.
I'm interested to listen to Girl with One Eye though. I hope it's kind of more of like a faster, rockier song. We should make a cover to it.
Let's see, well, there's another song. It's not on this album, but I believe it's on the next album, where I like the remix version better than the original.
Well, I know Calvin Harris did a collaboration.
Yeah, Spectrum. Yes, that's the one. The Calvin Harris remix, I think, is better than the album version.
I didn't love her Ceremonials album. Did you listen to it at all?
Not really. It's mostly this album that I've heard. I've heard other songs off of her other albums.
Yeah, like Shake It Out is one of that song is probably up there with Dog Days as like one of her more popular songs. It's the one that's like shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out.
Well, the Spectrum song is the Say My Name song.
And
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The remix is better than the album version. That's just me.
I think I've only ever heard the remixed version of it. Is her version super slow?
It doesn't have the dance beat to it. It's a lot more low key, but I mean, it's still a good song. But I don't know, when I hear it.
If you asked me the name of that song, I would tell you it was Say My Name. Yeah, that's a great song.
Hey, it's me. I'm interrupting the show for a moment to ask that if you have been listening and enjoy what's going on, to leave a rating on Apple Podcasts, or even just share an episode on social media. Any ratings and mentions are greatly appreciated. The podcast has been steadily growing, and I've been having a lot of fun interviewing people and hearing what they have to say about music and everything. So seeing that there are people that are into the show just makes it so much easier and enjoyable to put all the work of researching, recording, and editing into it. I'm going to put all the links to all this in the show notes just to make it easier on you. Okay, now back to it.
Oh man, it was fun diving back into these songs. It's almost like one of those albums I put on a shelf, and it was fun to listen to it again, because I've listened to it just like at so many different times. It almost takes you back through those moments. Music is just it's like an amazing time travel machine.
Yes, definitely. To me, I know every album that I ever bought, I can tell you pretty much when I bought it. Maybe if I bought a physical copy, I can tell you who was around when I bought it, where, I got a good music memory when it comes to music.
Yeah, I can usually tell you a year. Like if you give me a song, I'll tell you like the year. and maybe like the month or the season in which I first heard it, because it just like takes you right back to who you're standing around with, and like
Yeah.
where you were in some degree. Like, was I inside? Was I outside? Was I driving my car pretending I was in a movie with the soundtrack playing behind me?
Well, do you have any weird memories of listening to this and who you were with?
Weird memories. Man, I guess I don't have any weird memories. I have like a montage of just like screaming in my car though. Like all over the place. Even this past weekend, like once the album was done, I thought I lost my voice because her this song is just, the range is unreal in the song. I don't know if you try to sing along to it or not, and if you can hit those high notes.
No,
Um,
I could not do this. No.
but I was in pain. Also, Mike was sitting in the passenger seat listening to me scream to all of these songs. He was unfazed though, so I guess that's why
He's used
he's
to
my
it.
partner in crime. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He just tunes it out. But I think she had nodes, like Florence got that, can like, I think the way her voice, the way she sings isn't technically the standard or something, and so her vocals like rub together so much that she had to get surgery. You know about nodes, right? Like
Yeah.
Adele had them for a while too, or had it and had to get surgery. So it's kind of sad. That would be like a really bummer thing if your whole life was like around your sound, and then you were told, you know, that you're gonna hurt yourself if you kept doing it.
Yeah. Freddie Mercury, he had weird teeth. It wasn't really weird, but he had a big smile kind of
Very
thing.
noticeable teeth. Yeah, for sure.
And he was asked, like, why don't you fix that? You got the money. And he's like, well, man, I don't want to take the chance of like messing up my voice. My voice comes out how it comes out. I don't want to throw some surgery into there and mix it.
Right.
And,
That's so interesting. That could be like the magic sauce behind his voice is the shape of his teeth.
yeah, don't take the chance of ruining that, I guess. Yeah. He's like, I
How
can
sad
see
would
it.
that be?
Right. Oh, yes. That would be awful just to have something taken away from you like that you just, that's your career. That's your life, basically.
And like in the search for vanity too, right? Like Freddie Mercury was a perfectly like good looking guy just because he had noticeable teeth. I feel like our society wants us all to look like the same person, and I feel like it would be cooler if we just celebrate the like more abstract things about us instead of needing to like fit in this cookie cutter plastic surgery lifestyle.
Yeah, definitely.
That's so interesting that he chose not to do that for his voice. I'm like trying to think if I've ever like chosen not to change something about myself because I was afraid it would like ruin everything else I have.
All right, Lauren, we're going to play a game now. It's called Lyric or Just My Diary.
Oh, I love it. Is there a little song intro for your for your game?
You know what? There should be. There should be. I'm going to work on that. Maybe not for this episode, but
I'll
I
tinker
think.
on it too.
Oh, yes, please. I would love some intro music for
You
Lyric.
said song lyric or my diary entry?
Lyric or Just My Diary.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I'm going to read some words to you, and you got to tell me if they are from a song on this album or something I made up or
Okay.
something I cried into a pillow writing.
Ooh. Okay. It's gonna be tough.
Okay, here's the first one. Happiness hit her like a bullet in the back, struck from a great height by someone who should have known better than that.
Man, I do know you're very poetic when you speak, but I am gonna have to say that that is a Florence and the Machine song.
It is. It's the
Should
very
I
first.
guess what song it is?
You probably know. Go for it. You don't
Dog
get bonus
Days.
points, but yeah, Dog Days.
No bonus points. Not even like a sound, like a sound effect for being right.
It didn't even occur to me that I should have some sound effects for this. So I'm sorry, I don't.
I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Ready?
Okay,
Boo, 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 boo.
that
Levi
works.
approved.
I need a. You're right. I need a bonk sound and a ding ding ding.
Well, let's workshop it. Let's see. So what's question number 2?
This is a gift. It comes from with a price. Who is the lamp and who is the knife? Midas is king and he holds me so tight.
In this game, can you tweak lyrics, or do I not know the lyrics to the song? Man,
If I make up the lyrics, I make it up Weird Al style. It would be sung the same way as it would be in the song, if that makes any sense.
yes.
Okay.
I want to say that this is Florence again.
Is that your final answer?
I want to say that the lyrics that you say, who is the lamp and who is the light, I thought it was.
Who is the lamb with the B? Who is the lamb and who is the knife?
Who is the lamb and who is the knife? Just so you know, I thought that was who is the love and who is the life, which I've never looked up the lyrics to the song. So I'm still going with Florence.
You're right. It is Florence. It is Rabbit Heart. She does say who is the love and who is the life at another part in the song, but the part that I pulled it from is lamb and the knife.
Man, that's good to know. I think I write over those lyrics. Okay, so we get ding 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 ding.
Okay, here's the next one. Our hurt pride is always painless. These razor cuts always contagious.
I think this is your diary.
That's correct. It's my diary, which I cried into.
Oh man.
But I took it from Kiss with a Fist. The real words are my black eye casts no shadow. Your red eye sees no blame.
I don't think I would have gotten that.
Oh, well.
My right eye, is that like a middle of the song?
I believe it is. My black eye casts no shadow. Your red eye sees no blame. Your slaps don't stick. Your kicks don't hit.
Yes. So we remain the same. Love hits when trips. Yeah. Wow. I wouldn't have gotten that one though. You would have gotten me. I would have gotten
wow. All right. Here's the next one. Louder than sirens, louder than bells, sweeter than heaven, and harder than hell.
Oof, man. I know this one. It's definitely Florence.
It's from
This is Drummer's song. Yeah.
All right, last one. Caught my heart as I exhaled. The thought just exited from my head.
Oh gosh. Is this your diary?
It's my diary.
Oh man.
From Between Two Lungs, which is Between Two Lungs, it was released. The breath that passed from you to me.
You to me. Is this really your diary? You like inspired by these things? Yes.
Yeah. But
I
you
need to start keeping a diary.
points.
Yes.
And I'm gonna email Florence and tell her to congratulate you. Expect an email from her shortly.
I would love that. Even if you email me as her, or just want to sign like a Florence and the Machine poster and send it my way, I would hang that in my house.
Yeah, we'll see what I can do.
Get some excerpts from your diary in there though.
Lauren, can you sing your favorite line from this album?
I feel like I've done it a few times. My favorite line from the whole album. Well, I guess I told you drumming song is my favorite song. There's a drumming noise inside my head and it starts when you're around. I swear that you could hear it. It makes such an old mighty sound. Can you sing your favorite lyric from this album?
I cannot. I've never tried to sing this, and like I was just thinking, when we were talking about doing stuff and going to the movies, I miss going to karaoke because I would go do karaoke like twice a week, a lot at least.
Yeah, you were karaoke king. Is the place that you used to go to still open?
I haven't been paying attention, but probably they were for a while, so I'm assuming they're still around. But I have
So you're
not.
telling me, as karaoke king, you don't think you could sing your favorite lyric from this album, or you just don't know if you have a favorite like lyric in the album?
I don't think I've ever tried to sing anything from this.
I feel like you should try a really rangy, rangy lyric. See what you can hit.
Just turn this on me.
No, no, no. I mean, it's a really interesting question. It's a very like intimate question. It gets it almost like helps me hear it how you hear it.
Well, the line that I always hear in my head when I hear this album though is the run fast for your mother, run fast for your father, run for your children, for your sisters and your brothers.
Well, what's interesting about that lyric is I feel like it's even longer than that, and by the time you get to the end of it, you don't have any air left in your lungs.
There are some long lines in here. Yeah, she's got
Yeah,
some great lung control there.
because can I sing that lyric, the full lyric, what I think of when with that?
Sure.
Okay, so it's run fast for your mother and fast for your fathers, run for your children, for your sisters and your brothers, leave all your loving behind. You better carry it with you if you want to survive. It's like
Deep breath.
yeah. There's times in the album too where you can hear her go like, which just pulls the whole lungs back into it, which I love.
I always like it when I can hear the breath. It just not just for this album, but any album when I hear the singing and you can hear the breath and you can hear because it feels real. It adds a little texture to something and it doesn't feel like it's overproduced. It feels like they're there singing to you right now.
Right. Yeah, that's an interesting way of looking at it. It creates a lot more authenticity to the
Yeah.
music. And I just think Lungs is such a cool name for an album about singing your heart out. That's what the whole album feels like.
All right. Well, now I'm gonna have to put some real effort into singing it because you really put it out there to show me up on that line, which is great.
It's a sing off.
I know I'm going to put some effort into trying to show you up on that one. So I'll get back to you on that.
No, yeah, I'd love it. That could be a whole segment in itself, Levi. Sing off with Levi.
So what are you listening to right now besides Florence and the Machine when you're driving? What's been going on in your replay?
My replay has been all over the place recently. I would say in a very boring way, I have found that running to like top 40s from like the years has been something I've gotten into. Like you just go to Spotify and type in like top hits.
Okay.
Yeah. But when I was reminiscing about like what songs have like touched me throughout my life, I would say a lot of really good ones came up from the punk rock era. The Future Freaks Me Out, Motion City soundtrack. Just like all the fun angsty songs. I'm looking back through here and it's like Dear Maria, Count Me In. I'm trying to think if there's anything new. I feel like no one has been releasing songs in 2020 except for Taylor Swift, Like no one wanted to take the hit of releasing a song and not having like the concert revenue or something.
Yeah, I think that's what it is because how it's normally done nowadays is you put an album out and then you go tour immediately. There's a band that I do listen to that put an album out last summer. They were like, well, normally you would do that. And they were just like, well, you know what? They wanted to put this album out now. So whenever they do tour, everybody's going to know the songs.
Right.
Because they're like, well, when you see a band playing like a song you've never heard before or a new song, they're just kind of like listening, but they don't have that familiarity with it.
Right. Yeah, I would say like Glass Animals Heatwave is probably the most recently discovered song. That and Driver's License, because who hasn't heard, the You know driver's, I don't know driver's license.
I don't know that one. Okay.
You have to know that. Oh my gosh, Levi, that's good. It means you aren't like a crony to the top 40s like I am. There's a lot of like hidden drama to that song that was like, it even made its way to SNL as a joke at one point, because everyone pretends like
Oh,
they don't know the song, but they do.
okay. I did see that sketch when they're like a bunch of dudes like playing pool.
Yes, they're like,
Like,
yes, they're playing pool, and they're like, oh, I've never heard this song before, and then they just start screaming the lyrics to it. I feel like that song slowly ramped up and everyone knew about it. I guess you're smart because you started a podcast where you basically get people to tell you their favorite songs of all time. So that's a good. I will tell you, Levi, the one album I've been waiting for to come out this year, and I check about every month because it was supposed to come out in 2020 and the artist still hasn't released it. And please don't make fun of me because you're my friend. Is Little Dicky. It was supposed to release an album, and I don't know if you've listened to his album Professional Rapper. Maybe I should have done that to you if you haven't. Have you heard him before?
okay, I keep hearing about him. I think Brooke mentioned that she'd been listening to him a lot as well. I know there's a TV show,
Yes, Dave.
but I haven't. I'll get to it. Maybe I'll do that later today. We'll see.
I'm telling you, I think you're gonna really enjoy it. I mean, for me personally, I love people who are lyrically clever, like who can, um, you know, put words together in a way where you're like, oh, I've never thought about it like that before. And like what I was telling you with Kiss with a Fist. And I would say like every song in that album is like that, but it's so funny. Like he just hits you with the jokes. But he's also just a really incredible rapper. Like he's very good at what he does. So I've been waiting for him to release his second album, and he's supposed to do it in 2020, and I still have not found anything. And when I tell you I look every week. It's so bad. But I will tell you that the way I fell in love with his music is his music videos are actually produced by him, and they are so well produced. I would go watch some Little Dicky music videos and potentially start with Pillow Talk. I would say Pillow Talk it's an 8-minute long song. Not to spoiler it for you, but John C. Reilly is like God at one point. So that was like a fun little cameo. He's just really, really fun to listen to.
All right. I just Googled it, and you know how the video pulls up, and it looks like a velociraptor.
There are velociraptors in the video too. You're right.
Well, I'm definitely gonna have to check this one out then.
Yeah, please let me know what you think. He's definitely. I never thought that I would be into rap because I was like always really into rock growing up. Professional Rapper is up there with some of my favorite albums of all time.
All right. Well, I think that's about it here. Did we cover everything? Is there something about the album that we missed that you wanted to add?
For anyone listening to the album for the first time, I would recommend giving yourself like a full hour, preferably sitting outside. The weather's so beautiful right now, and just like giving yourself alone time to listen to it, because I think this album just deserves some time alone to really enjoy it. So I really appreciate, Levi, you inviting me on and being able to talk about one of my favorite albums of all time. You cannot even understand how much I am geeking out over being able to just dive into these songs and talk about the parts of them that like really struck a chord with me. I feel like music produces so much love too. There's it's like a sense. Music should be like a sixth sense.
There you go. I can't top what you just said there. So, but yeah, listen to this album definitely. I guess that's it then. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Levi. hopefully I'll see you soon
Hopefully.
and get back to the Provin.
Definitely. So please check us out with a new episode every other Monday, and follow along on Facebook at Wax Poetic Podcast, on Instagram also at Wax Poetic Podcast, and on Twitter at Wax Poetic Pod.
I was walking downtown like 2 weeks ago, and there were just like people, I couldn't tell if like fashion has changed or if I just haven't seen people in a really long time. But it was like such a bizarre feeling. Like, I don't know if you've been in like on the street in a semi-populated area yet, but I feel like I almost feel like I came out of a time machine and I'm not in the right place anymore. Like, either Austin's growing too quickly or I have just been sitting in my house for a year. But, you know,
Forgot all your social interactions, and
it's scary. It's going to be so interesting. I feel like we just have to jump right back on the horse, and get used to being in public again, if that's what we want, or we just stay at home forever.
yeah, but nobody's been riding that horse for a year, so it's gonna be very angry about getting jumped on.
Right.
I would imagine.
Right.
I don't know anything about horses. I've only ridden one once, and it did not seem to enjoy it. So
So you haven't gotten back on horses at all.